Well, hello guys. We're going to have a very interesting time together because we're looking at the great little area of solving linear equations, and we're going to look at solving linear equations today with brackets. Okay, so let's move on and see what we can do with this. But before I do that, I want to just reiterate with you that what we're doing is we're playing with the scales of justice. In other words, we're always keeping the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side. Okay? And we play the game of opposites. We always do the opposite thing to get rid of what we don't want on one particular side of our equation. Okay? And the strategy that we use is that we always leave the x term, the one we're trying to solve for, or the pronumeral, whatever it is, till last. Okay? That's it. So what did I say? I said keep both sides equal. That's what we're doing. And the game we play is a game of opposites, and the strategy we use is that we leave the unknown term till last before we fiddle with it. Okay? Good. Let's go. Now, four very interesting little equations for us to solve, and let's go through them without any further ado. Number A. Here it goes. Now, what have we got? We've got 3 into x plus 5 equals 15. Well, let's play the game. Now, there are two ways to do this one, and I'm going to show you both, because there's more than one way to, well, pardon the expression, but skin a cat. Or the better version would probably be to say that all roads lead to Rome, as they say. In other words, there's more than one way to get to the end result. So in this particular example, I'm going to show you that I'm really saying that 3 times, there's an unwritten times in there. Everything that's in that bracket equals 15. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the game of opposites by dividing both sides by that 3. Okay? That's the game of opposites, isn't it? I don't have to multiply out that bracket if I don't want to, okay? In the second example I'll show you of this same question, I will multiply out the bracket and I'll show you that we get the same result, okay? So it's really up to you which way you want to proceed. There we go, I've divided both sides by 3, haven't I? Right, let's do it. And we get some cancelling happening because we've got the 3 on the bottom cancels in with the 3 on the top on the left-hand side, and of course on the right-hand side 3 goes into itself once and into 15 5 times. So cleaning up, what have we got? X plus 5, don't need the bracket anymore, is equal to 5. So what do you think the game of opposites would tell us to do now to get rid of that 5 on the left-hand side? Yeah? Well, I think you've got it. We're going to subtract 5 from both sides, okay? Yes, there it comes, and simplifying that a bit, yeah, plus 5 minus 5 equals nothing, which is why we did it in the first place, and on the right-hand side, of course, we get also nothing. So it looks like x equals a big fat 0. And Mr. Box, thank you, Mr. Box. Okay, you got it? And what you would also, I would advise you to do is check that solution of 0 works in the actual original equation. And if you plug in 0 for x into that original equation, you will see that it works. Okay? Here comes the alternative approach, which I alluded to a moment ago. We're going to multiply out the bracket. Okay, so 3 times x plus 3 times 5 equals 15. Yes? Now, we're going to subtract 15 from both sides because we want it off that left-hand side, don't we? Yes, we do. Yes, and we do see the light. Thank you, Mr. Light. And we'll keep going. Subtracting 15 from both sides, and let's do some cancel-orama. Yes. Do you see that's right? Of course you do. So 3x equals 0, and therefore x itself must have been equals 0. 3 times it equals 0 as well. Thank you, Mr. Box. Okay, how did you go with that? Now I want you to have a go at number B, C and D before we do any more. So I'm going to stop now and have a little rest, and you're going to do some work, okay? And then you can come back and see how you went with B, C and D, okay? See you in a minute. Okay, how did you go? Good? Well, that's very good. Let's see. Let's do number B. Here it comes. Okay, what have we got? Minus 4 into x minus 2 equals 12. Now, the reason I selected this one is because we've got some pesky little minuses to worry about here. So let's just keep our cool and just take it one step at a time, because inch by inch, anything's a cinch. And mile by mile, it's a terrible trial, so we don't do it that way. So I've just written it in very plainly in that line there. Minus 4 times plus x minus 2. Put all the signs in and the multipliers so you can see what's going on. Equals plus 12. Now, let's multiply that out. On the left-hand side, we'll get rid of that bracket, okay? Now, when I do that, I do the signs first and then the numbers and the pronumerals next. So that minus 4 times plus x gets me minus 4 times x. Yes? Okay, now let's do the minus 4 times the minus 2, the second term inside the bracket. So that gets us plus. A minus times a minus gets a plus, and 4 times 2, we'll deal with that in a minute, equals, right-hand side, plus 12. Nothing changes there yet. Now, let's just see what we're going to do next. We'll clean it up a bit. We're saying minus 4x plus 8 equals plus 12. So what do you think the next move is in our game of opposites? Yes, we'll subtract 8 from both sides, okay? Right, let's do it. There it is, okay? So, cleaning up, we get that. Now, do you see that? Plus 12 minus 8 on the right-hand side equals plus 4, doesn't it? So, now we're down to the x term. That's the one we leave till last, so we need to do some surgery on it now. And we're going to divide both sides by minus 4, because that x term is multiplied by minus 4, the way it's sitting there. All right, let's go. Right, now, some cancelling. Oh, what happened there? Wait a minute. I think we'll just... there it is again. Now we'll do the cancelling, okay? Yes, the 4 goes into itself once, and on the right-hand side, same thing. So cleaning up, what have we got? Plus x. See the minus and the minus? If the signs are the same, the answer is plus. Plus x equals, and on the right-hand side, it's minus 1, because the plus and the minus, those signs are different. So it looks like x is minus 1, guys. And if you check that out by testing that solution in the original equation, you will see that that does work brilliantly, okay? Yes, it does, okay? All right, let's do number C for you and me. What have we got? We've got minus 2 times x plus 3 is minus 22 over 3. What should we do? What do you think? Well, I chose to simplify it all so you can see what you're doing, and then I wanted to divide both sides by minus 2. Now, if you wanted to multiply the brackets out and do it that way, that's okay with me, that's fine. But I've just chosen to do it this way because I think it's a bit quicker, okay? So let's do that. We've got, yes, plus x plus 3, the terms that were in the bracket, and I've divided the top and the bottom of that left-hand side by minus 2, which came out to 1. Okay, minus 2 over minus 2 is just 1. And that equals minus 22 over 3 times minus 2. But the minus 2 is on the bottom, underneath. That means you are dividing by it, even though you can see a multiply between the 3 and the minus 2. It doesn't matter. Both those terms are dividing into the minus 22. Okay? Yeah, and you get some cancelling happening. The 2 goes into 22 11 times, and so what do we get? Yeah, that's plus 11 over 3, because there's a minus and a minus on the top, minus on the bottom. Yeah, that gets you a plus. All right, come on, we're going to keep going now. Hello, oh, Mr. Loveheart, thank you. We do love what we're doing, don't we? So, we're going to subtract 3 from both sides because I want the x on its own. On its own, on the left-hand side, okay? So therefore, x plus 3 minus 3 equals 11 over 3 minus 3. Good, cleaning up. Now, we've just got to deal with that little beastie on the right-hand side. And remember, you cannot add or subtract fractions unless they have the same denominator. So we've got to turn that minus 3 into something over 3. Okay? So, and the way we do that is just like that. If you multiply the 3 over 1, in other words, 3 over 1 is 3. And if you multiply the top and the bottom by 3, you get 9 over 3. Now, the denominators are the same, and we can just say that x equals 2 over 3. And Mr. Box, thank you, Mr. Box. How did you go? Did you get it right? Well, if you didn't, have a look, see where you went wrong, and learn from where you went wrong, okay? And if you did get it, jolly good show for you, okay? And we'll see how you went with the next one. D. Okay, here we go. What is it? 5 times x minus 6 equals minus 50. What would you like to do? Multiply out the bracket or just divide both sides by 5? The choice is yours. So, what have we got? That's the same thing, just written with all the timeses and the pluses and minuses and bells and whistles all over the place so we can see exactly what we're doing. I think I've probably divided by both sides by 5. Yes, I did. Yeah, because that's the quickest way. Alright, so what do I get now? And let's do the cancelling. There it goes on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side we've got, 50 over 5 is 10. Okay, so let's go over the page now and see what we got. That's what we just had on the previous page. Now let's just clean that up a little bit. What do we get? Yeah, the left-hand side doesn't need the bracket anymore because those 5s are gone. And it's plus, because there was a plus 5 over plus 5, gets you plus 1. So it's just simply plus x minus 6 equals minus 10. Do you see that? A minus on the top, a plus on the bottom, that gets you minus 10. Now, ladies and gentlemen, all we've got to do now is clean up the left-hand side by what? What did I hear you say? Yes, adding 6 to both sides, because there's a minus 6 there with the x, okay? You do the opposite thing. So what do? We get that. Cleaning it up a little bit, we get x is minus 4. And I think Mr. Box is champing at the bit. Thank you, Mr. Box. So, how did you go with that one? Did you get that one right? Ah, well, that's good if you did. And if you didn't, go back and see where you went wrong, because practice makes perfect. Now you've got lots and lots of practice to do with this. So, do the exercises that you've been given to do, and be very careful and play the game, okay, and have fun. Yes, and I hope you see the light, okay? So thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch up with you next time. Okay, bye now.